Okay, everybody, konbanwa, and welcome to our session on Kansai region. So Kansai is a part of Japan, which is south of Kanto region where Tokyo is, and it's home to big cities Osaka, Kyoto, and lots of temples and a lot of different culture. So today we're going to explore the different parts of the Kansai region and do a bit of Japanese grammar and some vocab, so you can pick up a few things as well for learning Japanese too. So first of all, we're going to check Osaka. So I've got a really cool cinematic video that I'm just going to play through just to show you. At the side here, you can see the other regions in Osaka, Nara, Kyoto. Um, so we're going to just check those out. Okay, so as you can see, with Osaka, there's the really busy city life, which most people are familiar with, but there's also a different side. There's a lot of rural landscape, and it's what you probably find with a lot of areas and prefectures in Japan. Although Tokyo is quite populated, a lot of Japan is rural and has a lot of beautiful scenery and nature. But we'll check out the most popular places in Osaka for now. At the most popular tourist destination is Dotonbori, which is a place full of cuisine. In Osaka, it's called the Kitchen of Japan because there's so much food that you can get. Lots of different food to eat there. The culture is described as kuitaure, which in Japanese means literally eat till you drop, but it translates in Japanese as eat until you're financially broke. So there's so much different food to try that it's, if you want to go to a place to try Japanese cuisine, it's the best place to go to. So there's a lot of different types of food that you can get there. The most popular is takoyaki, which is the one in the bottom left corner, which is basically translates literally as octopus balls. So octopus is cut and stuffed in the middle, and it's cooked with batter surrounding it, and you can dip it in some sauce, and it's really tasty. You have fugu on the bottom right, and fugu is actually, when you cook it, it can be poisonous and can kill you if not cooked properly. So when this is cooked in restaurants, it's cooked by professionals who have been training in how to properly cook fugu for years, so that they can present you the dish without you having problems or reactions to it. And then the top two, we have okomi. Hold on. There's
Okonomiyaki.
Yeah, that's it. I can't. Yeah, okonomiyaki and kushikatsu. Kushikatsu is usually, again, it's just batter. You can dip it into some sauce, and you can dip it into some sauce, and it tastes quite nice. Okonomiyaki is basically batter. It's like a pancake, and you can, again, it's pancake with lettuce and spring onions, so it's quite healthy. So there's all sorts of varieties of food that you can get there when you go to Dotonbori. I was going to go with a sentence from someone that I know at my university. Her name's Nina, and she's from Osaka. And this is just a sentence of what she is saying. I'll just show you. Both English and Japanese.
Okay, so my favorite food from Osaka is takoyaki. 私の好きな大阪の食べ物はたこ焼きです。
Okay, so the sentence she says is 私の好きな大阪の食べ物はたこ焼きです. So in terms of Japanese grammar here, you can express that you like something simply by saying 私は, which is I, and whatever you like, が好きです. 例えば, for example, you can say 私はお好み焼きが好きです. Or anything that you like. 私は大阪が好きです. So that is a really easy Japanese sentence that you can say and use to express that you like something. So there's a lot of different castles in Japan in general, and there's a castle in Osaka called Osaka Castle, and it was built between 1583 1585, and the current one that stands today is it's been rebuilt because of different times it's been destroyed, whether it's in war or by fire. It's one of Japan's most famous castles, and it kind of looks like something from a Studio Ghibli film when you look at it, but it's really beautiful. And my friend also has something to say about that. Where she lives is Kishiwada, which is just outside Osaka, but they have a castle as well. So there's different castles wherever you go.
So both in Osaka City and Kishiwada City we have castles. So In Osaka City, they have Osaka Castle, and in Kishiwada City, we have Kishiwada Castle. Recently, the Hollywood film crew, including Henry Golding, came to Kishiwada Castle to film, I think, was it Ninja Turtles or something? I forgot, something like that. Or they both have nice views. You can just look around the castle. I mean, Kishiwada Castle is a bit smaller than Osaka Castle, but then they also have cherry blossoms around. If you go in the springtime, you can do hanami, which is like a cherry blossom celebrations. You have a lunch or drink under the cherry blossoms during springtime. Yeah, that would be the favorite place for me to visit.
So actually, even if you don't go during springtime where you can see the cherry blossoms, there is still a lot of beautiful scenery around Osaka Castle as well. So, for example, there's a garden just next to Osaka Castle, and as you can see, there's tea houses and there's walkways and there's different trees growing, and it's actually like really beautiful to check out. It's probably about 200 yen to go and take a visit and to go inside, which is relatively cheap considering how amazing it is. And there's loads of other cool locations in Osaka as well. There's Amerikamura, which is basically America Town, and this is where a lot of young people hang out, and you can get a lot of secondhand stores to buy a lot of different cool things and trendy, fashionable clothing on all sorts. There's game bars around Osaka, which are slowly dying off because game companies are putting more pressure on these game bars, but they are places where you can buy, like, literally sit down and play all the retro games that you want. They've got like SNES and NES and GameCubes and stuff like that. And Hep 5 is a huge shopping center with its own Ferris wheel, which gives you a view over Osaka. Traveling in Osaka, you can use an Ikoka card, which or Pasmo card. So it's good to get a travel card because there's so many different companies that are running train lines in Osaka. You want to get a card so that you can just pay for each one rather than having to pay separate tickets. But it's funny, Ikoka actually comes from the word Ikoka, which means like shall we go. So that's where that comes from. But it's also relatively cheap to get accommodation. I found accommodation in Osaka for about $50 a night, I think. Yeah, so you can get cheap places which aren't as fancy, but they are quite clean and quite appropriate for what you're paying for. So Kansai-Ben as well. Just do a bit of Kansai-Ben, and we've got Nina again to show that.
So one of the popular Kansai-ben is nandeyanen. Nandeyanen is like, oh, what the fuck do you mean? Like that. It's like when people try to make a joke, like stupid jokes, then the other person will say nandeyanen, like as like just I don't know, to say like what the fuck are you saying, like in a jokey way. Also in Osaka, we sometimes say okini instead of arigato. It means thank you. A lot of older people say okini as arigato. Uh, well, in Osaka, people like to put yan or nen after a sentence. So, like nande ya nen, nen is at the bottom. It's like yeah, dialect thing that Tokyo people don't have.
So you've also got other words that you can say in Kansai-Ben. There's actually quite a few differences in vocabulary. For example, if you're going to say honto, honto is like really. In Japanese, in Kansai Ben, it's like honma. If you say how many, so like ikura desu ka, how many things have you got? You say nanbo, hidoi, egui, and there's so many different dialects, changes in dialect. So it's just a quick video that I found. Someone who comes from Tokyo region, someone who comes from Kansai, comparing the differences in their words.
あそこ、あこ、ダメ、あかん、新品、皿。皿って、いや、それもプレートじゃん。プレートのことなんて言うの？皿。皿かい、同じじゃん。あんなに、甘い。お酒のおつまみ。当て、短くない？バカな。アホな。バカらしい。アホらしい。アホよく使う。うん。あなた。あんた。お母さんとかがね、よく。あんた。あんた何してんの？あんまり。あんま。あ、理がないんだ。理がない。壊れる。潰れる。でも意味が違うじゃん。壊れる。潰れる？潰れるって言ったことない。いや、潰れるって言葉あるよ。クラッシュの意味。でも潰れるは潰れる。あ、壊れるの意味では使う。車潰れたって。車壊れた。捨てる。ほかす。ほかしといてっていうの。そうそう、ほかしといてとか、ほっといて。これ、ほっといてって言われたら、東京の人は触らない。そう。勘違いしちゃうんだけど、これほっといてって言ったら、捨てるって。あ、そうなんだ。俺多分見てるだけだ。ほっといて。何してんのって。ほってって。ほっといて。ほっといて。
Okay, so there's a lot of different words with different meaning. Well, the same meaning, but just different ways of saying it. So, coming out of Osaka, there's Wakayama Prefecture. Here's a shot of Wakayama Castle, which is actually, again, recent. This is a recent build after World War II, because a lot of castles were damaged over World War II, and a lot of castles after Edo period they got rid of them because it was past the feudal days. So there used to be thousands of castles in Japan, but there's only a few standing now, and a lot of them have been converted, like this one, into museums. Koyasan is one of the most sacred sites in Japan, in Wakayama. It's been home for Buddhists for many years, and it's part of a huge pilgrimage, which is called the Kumano Pilgrimage Trail, which links different temples together. Initially, it was just for travelers in Buddhism to just go and visit these sites, but then they made official trails, which have become part of the UNESCO World Heritage Site. They are super long. Some trails don't have much villages or towns to stop at, so they can be quite time consuming, and it's almost like a spiritual challenge in itself. For example, this purple line, for example, that trail doesn't have any villages. It's quite mountainous, and it can be quite dangerous. So if you were ever to go on a trail like this, you might, I don't know if there's tour guides, but you might be good to get someone who can help you with that rather than going by yourself. Another interesting thing is that I believe it's either Koyasan or another temple I will show you. You can actually stay in some of these Buddhist temples and kind of get a sneak of what it's like to live in that kind of environment and eat traditional food and stuff like that. So it's there's different experiences outside of the city that you can also explore in Japan, which are really interesting. Again, you've got different kind of scenery to check out in Wakayama. This is Nachi Falls, one of Japan's highest waterfalls, and at the right picture you can pay I think it's under 1,000 yen to get this close to the waterfall. The Buddhists usually use the waterfall for serious training, and looks really pretty. So there's another place you can check out. You've probably seen this temple before because it's quite a famous temple. So going into Nara, So, for example, Nara again has more temples. This is one of Nara's most famous shrines, and it's famous for its lanterns, which have been accumulated over hundreds of years, that people donate, believers of Buddhism faith donate into, oh no, it's a Shinto. So I think it's a Shinto shrine actually. So people of that faith donate lanterns, and they have a huge lantern festival during the Obon season, which is the holiday across Japan for honoring the dead. So they have a huge lantern festival which lights up in all the lanterns in the night. Nara Park is really famous for its deer, which are considered a national heritage. The deer were actually considered sacred at one point, so sacred that if you were to kill one of them, you could be sentenced to death. But they got rid of the fact it was sacred. It's become a national heritage, and they actually bow to you if you bow to them, as you can see in the top corner picture, and you can feed them. There's a single company that deals with crackers that you can give to the deer, but they will pretty much eat anything that you've got. So if you're eating some street food, I was watching a video, this guy was eating some street food and the deer just tore it out of his hand and just started munching on it. So they're very hungry. Don't tease them with the food because they will get aggressive, but they are quite friendly and they are very tame, so they will approach you freely if they can smell some food. Here's some other views of Nara Park. You've got some small tea houses, and you've got some other walk paths and places of nature to visit. And within the park, you have this huge wooden structure considered one of the largest wooden structures in the world, Todaiji. And within it is a huge statue of Buddha. To describe how big the statue is, I believe, from what I heard, the nostril or the nose is about the size of a human being. So it looks quite small maybe from there, but it's huge. So that's another really cool place to check out. The red pillars at the side, there's little holes underneath them, and it's considered if you can fit through the hole from one side of the pillar to the other, you will be blessed and have good fortune in your next life. So obviously if you're a child, I suppose that's a huge benefit. But so this is another really nice place to call out, to check out in Nara. I wanted to really show you guys this where they did mochi in Nara, because I'm just going to show you.
By the station is Nakatani-do, a shop that specializes in the ancient art of mochi making. Really, this place needs no introduction. Mochi must be pounded when hot, and speed is critical. Any cooling changes the taste and texture. The art has been passed down from ancient times, and Nakatani-san learned this speedy method from his village in Kami-Kitayama in the Nara countryside. The pounders continually dip the mallets in water to keep the mochi moist and to keep it from sticking. The team moves quickly to the next step, where it will be turned fast by hand to maintain good consistency throughout. You can see how stretchy it is, the mark of excellent quality mochi. Speedy slapping and pounding with fast turns is the last part. One last collision for good measure, and it's thrown into the machine where Azuki red bean paste from Hokkaido is put in the middle of the mochi from Saga Prefecture.
ありがとうございました。
All ingredients are from very natural areas in Japan.
あ、いいんですよ。はい、大丈夫です。はい。次に2つお願いします。
Very
So this is why you can't get good Japanese food outside in the UK or anywhere else outside Japan. Japan makes food in interesting ways. Yeah. So now moving on to Shiga Prefecture, which is also in Kansai. And looking at a few places in Shiga, we've got Lake Biwa, which is one of Japan's largest freshwater lakes, and it's named after the biwa instrument, which is like a guitar, and it's considered one of the oldest lakes in the world. And there's about 37% of the prefecture's total land is designated as national parks, natural parks, and a lot of it in Shiba, a lot of the land is quite scenic. There's not many busy towns, so it's a nice place to get away from the busyness of life. Another castle, this is Hikone Castle. So this is a Japanese Edo period castle, and actually it's one of the only castles that are still in its original state. So it's not had any reconstruction. It's as it was 500 years ago, and it gives you an idea of what it gives you an idea of what the castle would be like in the feudal days of Japan. Again, like most castles, you have a beautiful garden within and around the castle grounds that you can check out. Now, for the cuisine, we've got different cuisine. We've got funazushi, which is this sushi over here. We've got omi beef. We've got champon. I cannot remember which one's the champon, but you have different cuisine that you can get in Shiga as well. So you've probably realized that different prefectures do different meals, and the food is so diverse for different prefectures that you visit. There's a puppet troupe in Shiga, which was founded after 200 years ago. A puppet troupe. They were trying to make money doing puppet shows, but they couldn't. They had to sell the puppets in Shiga into a family in Shiga to pay the rent because they couldn't get enough money. They couldn't perform, and then they had to sell their puppets to be able to get a boat to travel to where they came from. And then later on, the family who had these puppets that were sold were like, "Oh, we can do a puppet show," and this has been toured around the world. The puppet heads that are used, most of them are from 200 years ago. They haven't been changed. They're exactly as they were, although the clothes that they suffer more wear, so they are changed and remodeled. Which just gives you an example of what else. Now we're gonna do a short dialogue. I've just realized the furigana on this dialogue is a bit to the right. But Ben, would you mind helping read some of it?
Yeah, that's fine.
You could read which one do you want to read, A or B?
I'll read A as there's less kanji in that one.
Okay, no problem.
船寿司を食べたい。しかし、どこで船寿司を食べらますか?
So that's like I like funazushi. I like eating funazushi. Where can I find funazushi? I say eki no yoko ni o sushi ya ga arimasu. So at the side of a station there's a sushi shop.
本当? どうですか?
So really, how is it? 少し高いけど美味しいです。やってみてください。So it's a bit expensive, but it's delicious. You should try it.
はい、ありがとうございます。
And then, yeah, thank you very much. So, another little point with dialogue in Japanese is if you want to ask where something is, as Ben said, you can say doko desu ka? So you can say, in this case, doko de funazushi o taberaremasu ka? So if you're asking where something is, you could say doko desu ka? And then you can say the place after that. So, doko desu ka funazushi wa? So you can say it in that way, which is kind of back to front, but you can communicate that and the listener in Japanese will understand what you're talking about and can help you look for what you're looking for. Again, do desu ka is a common phrase to say, how is it? Like, what's it like? And you can get an explanation of what it's like. Another popular phrase, やってみてください or やってみて is like, yeah, please try it or try it or I'm going to try this. So if you're going to try something, you say, oh, やってみてよ. Oh yeah, I'm going to go and try it. So those are a few popular phrases that you can use. So the final prefecture is Kyoto, which I'm going to hand over to Ben.
Yeah.
Oh, I put the
Wow.
answers.
The answers.
Okay. All right, so Ben,
Yeah, so I'm gonna talk about Kyoto. It's sort of to the east of Osaka and is also quite a big city. I'm going to focus on a few places around there. First off, if we go to the next slide.
Okay, we're not playing the video?
I can play the video if you want to.
Okay. Oh, you got the same one as
Yeah.
I did?
Yeah, I literally just saw yours. Copied it.
I wonder how do you answer this?
Oh, it was just the video was on full screen. You could have just pressed spacebar. It would have gone to the next.
あ、そうですか。大丈夫。ちょっと。Takes a bit of time now.
Mm-hmm. じゃあ、まずは first off, I'd like to talk about Nijo Castle. If you want to look at like the heritage and some of the traditional buildings of Kyoto, then Nijo Castle is a must when visiting Kyoto. Nijo Castle was built in 1603 as the Kyoto residence of Tokugawa Ieyasu, who was the first shogun of the Edo period. It was then completed 23 years later by his grandson. When exploring Nijo Castle, it's sort of in there's sort of three areas to explore. You have the Honmaru, which is the main circle of defense, the Ninomaru, the second circle of defense, and some gardens that encircle the Honmaru and Ninomaru. It's like that as it was used as sort of a defense place for the shogun. The entire castle grounds and the Honmaru are surrounded by stone walls and moats, again to keep enemies out. Fushimi is a district in the southern part of Kyoto that specializes in brewing sake, so it's generally known as the Sake District in Kansai. In total, there are almost 40 breweries in the district, including the giant brewery Gekkeikan, which was founded here in 1637, so it's quite old. Some of the breweries are open for public tours, for taste testing, and factory shops where you can buy the sake and maybe some gifts. Some sake-themed gifts, I guess. One of the breweries I researched was Matsui Sake Brewery. The tour, according to their website, costs 1,200 yen and lasts about an hour. And this includes a tasting session of the sake at the end. Finally, for Fushimi, there is a cruise that you can go on that goes down the river that's there. And it goes down the river that's there. That used to be used by the breweries for receiving deliveries. You can get on the cruise on the docks near the Gekkeikan Brewery and the Teradaya Inn, which is an inn in the place in Fushimi, which isn't too far from Gekkeikan Brewery either. The cruises go both as far as the junction in the Uji River, and it takes about 55 or 40 minutes depending on which cruise you get. Kiyomizu-dera, literally translating to Pure Water Temple, is one of the most celebrated temples in Japan. It was founded in 1780 on the site of Ottawa Waterfall in the wooded hills east of Kyoto, and derives its name from the fall's pure waters. Kiyomizu-dera is best known for its wooden stage that juts out from the side. You can from its main hall, and you can see that there in the right picture where all the people are standing. 13 meters above the hillside below, which provides a great view of the surrounding forest. Behind Kiyomizu-dera's main hall stands Jishu Shrine, a shrine dedicated to the deity of love and matchmaking. In front of the shrine are 2 stones placed 18 meters apart. And if you find your way between the 2 stones successfully with your eyes closed, it's said to bring you good luck in finding love. The Otoa waterfall, finally, the Otoa waterfall is located at the base of Kiyomizude's main hall. Its water streams are divided into 3 separate streams, and visitors use cups attached to long poles to drink from them. Each stream's water is said to have a different benefit. One might give you longevity in life. Another may be success at school, or maybe in a job. Maybe you get loads of money, something like that. And the final one is a fortunate love life. However, if you drink from all 3, it's generally considered greedy, and it's most likely not going to come true. Nishiki Market is one of the bigger markets, or the more well-known markets in Japan, and it's located in Kyoto, less than 5 minutes away from Shijo Station. Typical things the shopkeepers will sell are fish, meat, dried foods like fruit and vegetables, side dishes, and yuba, which is tofu skin. The normal opening hours for the market are 9 a.m. in the morning till 6 at night. So I managed to find a little bit on KYOTO-BEN specifically, which differs slightly from Kansai-BEN. For example, horu is used much more often in Kyoto and can be used in different ways. In other parts of Kansai, horu is primarily used by women, but in Kyoto, men use it as well. The example there is nani o tabeta horu no, and then if you put that into standard Japanese, that would be nani o tabeteiru no. Ooh, I struggled with that one. Which means, what should we eat? Yes, yeah. I'll be going through them in order, so. Let's see. For number 2, in regular Kansai-BEN, negative verbs are replaced with hen. For example, the phrase "I don't understand" or "wakaranai," "wakarahen," and yeah. I don't think that was number 2. I don't think that was number 2, but I think that was just an extra one. Sorry. My notes are really all over the place. Is this? What is this one? There we go. The second one now, it is the shihin nakata, which is a staple of Kyoto, or hin, I think it is, is a staple of KYOTO-BEN. Where when you make the irregular verbs suru and kiru negative, instead of becoming seihen and keihen, they become shihin and kihin. And the example is ano toki kare wa henji shihin katta. At the time, he didn't give an answer. So that one's number 2. Let's see. KYOTO-BEN, more than other dialects, relies heavily on repeating syllables or using onomatopoeia. So words like totemo and tsugoku, which mean very or really, aren't generally used. And as the example I put there, that says kyo wa atsui atsui, which means today is really hot. But in standard Japanese, that would be kyo wa totemo atsui. Finally, I think, yes. Finally, Yoshi is sort of a light command used towards people of equal or lower rank. So that's sort of like people in your company, or if you were talking to a student, something like that, or your child, maybe. The example there is Benkyo shioshi. In standard Japanese, that would be Benkyo shinasai. It means you should study.
Is that Yosh? Is that like similar to Yosh, like Yosh Yosh? Like
that's probably where it comes from, but it didn't really mention, like the website where I researched this didn't mention where it derived from. But I'd imagine it's sort of similar, like just let's do it kind of thing. All right, you should study. All right, yeah, you you should study. Yeah, I think maybe some other Tokyo dialects would say Benkyo shioyo, so it probably comes from, derives from that as well.